Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode of the Chasin 28 podcast here on Pinstriped Episode number 10. Happy to be back with you once again this week. I'm Ricky Keeler. Hope you're all staying safe. Hope you're all following the rules of COVID-19. Hope you've all dug out if you're in the Northeast with all this snow. I know I'm sick of it. But hey, 2 more weeks till spring training. We actually will have live baseball to talk about in less than a month. Because we're getting to that if that's the right decision later on, but it is something to look forward to that we will talk about coming up. Masahiro Tanaka decides he wants to go back to Japan. Get into that. Brett Gardner's still a free agent. Do you want him back if you're the Yankees? We'll get into that. Kyle Barraclough signs a minor league deal, according to John Morosi from MLB Network. Would that help the bullpen? We'll dive a little deep into the Yankee bullpen as well. We'll look into our Yankee minor league position overview. We'll talk about second base this week. And we'll talk about Arenado to the Cardinals and why baseball can't agree on anything. I mean, I think most people can agree on some things. I don't think baseball can agree on anything. I don't think they could agree if the sky is blue. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Want to remind you, of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Pinstripe Pros. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Remember, it's under Pinstriped Prospects. That's where you find the Chasin 28 podcast. You find that wherever you get your podcasts. And remember to give us a rating, like, and subscribe. We want that 5 stars. We want to hear from you as we head into the spring training season. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. And be sure you can email me as well, rickjkeeler@gmail.com. We'll talk more about our Dugout membership program a little bit later in the show. So joining us once again this week is, first off, our usual person on the panel who does a good job running all of our social media. Alexis Farinacci's back. Alexis, how are you?
Doing well. Excited for the announcement that, gosh, we are going to officially finally have baseball and sounds like a full season. Excited about that. Excited to get into that a little bit more later and to have some live baseball down here in Florida in just a couple weeks.
So we're going to get into that because I'm like half excited and half what the heck is going on. But we'll definitely get into that. And back this week by popular demand, James O'Connell. James, welcome back. How are you?
Doing good, man. COVID got the best of me 2 weeks in a row. One during the sickness, I guess, where I couldn't stop coughing, and then one after where I had a little run-in with the hospital. So glad to be all good. It was wild experience. Usually kids my age, 22, 23 years old, recover for the most part, pretty quickly and pretty efficiently with no real complications for the most part, unless you have underlying conditions. But that wasn't the case for me. I didn't get that lucky, I guess, but just happy to be back and healthy and happy. I'm kind of pissed at how much stuff I missed to talk about with James and Tyon, Corey Kluber and such, but just happy to be back, I guess. Yeah, happy to be healthy and back.
Yeah, I don't want to say that Brian Cashman heard that you were out and said, hey, let's make a bunch of moves now. Yeah. But since Brian Cashman decided to do that, let's let you lead the first segment with just giving us your thoughts. LeMahieu back, Kluber here, Tyon here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I was on the show for the LeMahieu sign. Was I on the show for the LeMahieu signing? I don't even remember. But even if I wasn't, that was a no-brainer, obviously. So I'll just go with that quick no-brainer. Had to bring DJ back. Yeah, everyone knows my thoughts about that. So we'll go in order here. Corey Kluber. That was a move I wanted them to make. The more I talked myself kind of into it, the more I wanted it to happen, because the whole Eric Cressy connection and kind of just the whole revival situation, kind of similar to one of maybe hopefully a Justin Verlander revival situation with a competitive team. And the Yankees are known for their whole resurrection ceremonies to a sense with guys that are seemingly past their prime and come to the Yankees, and it just seems like they get an extra boost of confidence or extra boost from that competitiveness. And then James and Tyon, I don't love the way this rotation is structured because there's just so many question marks. You don't know what you're going to get out of really anyone outside of Garrett Cole. You don't know how many innings you can get out of Kluber. You don't know how many innings you can get out of Tyon. But granted, Tyon is a phenomenal talent. There's no doubt that he's a guy that could slide in behind Garrett Cole as a 2, or could slide in behind Corey Kluber / Luis Severino as a 3. It depends however they rattle it up here. The 2 Tommy John surgeries you don't love, but it's a move that made too much sense in the sense of what they were giving up. They really didn't give up much of anything. So overall, I would say I like what they've done in my time out. I think you look at that rotation and you feel better about it. There's no doubt because there was nothing really there before. But I no doubt see Corey Kluber, James and Tyon, and pick your choice of Montgomery, Schmidt, Garcia to fill out the round. It feels a lot better than just Cole and pick it out of a hat. So ultimately, you got to feel pretty good. But at the end of the day, you really just hope for one of the two pitchers they acquired at least to be some sort of effective because they're going to need that. So a bunch of question marks, but overall feel better about the team than I did before my COVID stint.
Now, there were two significant departures while James was on.
Uh-huh.
One, Adam Ottavino goes to the Red Sox. I'm sure you did not like that move at all.
It's not that I didn't like it. It was just that I couldn't understand the fact of trading Adam Ottavino to the Red Sox just to re-sign Brett Gardner because that's what it was kind of made. That's what they kind of made it sound like in a sense. It was like, oh, now this clears the way for Brett Gardner to re-sign with the Yankees. Like, did you really have to trade Ottavino to the Red Sox to sign?
The optic was bad. The optic was bad. But they did bring in O'Day, but the optic.
Yeah, in hindsight, I guess like O'Day serves the same purpose because they had no trust left in Ottavino anyway, so you might as well get someone for cheaper. But like the penny pinching, definitely, I feel some type of weight about it. But let's go to the other departure.
And the other departure is the favorite target of last season, the guy that caused many debates on this show.
Mm-hmm.
There's occasional yelling between the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call it I call it spirited yelling.
Yeah.
Jay Happ's now giving up home runs at Target Field, not Yankee Stadium.
And that'll be, and when I tell you, it'll be a lot of fun when Jay Happ told us to slab in the Bronx as a member of the Minnesota Twins. I cannot wait for that home run derby. But
good to look up when those games are too.
Yeah. Good riddance, Jay Happ. You serve no purpose to me at any point. The kind of stunk outside of like your, like I guess, couple month run when they first traded for him. But all he really did was clog up salary space, $17 million. Appreciate that. Best of luck to you in Minnesota.
Yankees, by the way, do not play Minnesota right now until June 8th next year, or this year.
Well, please not pitching in Japan by then.
June 8th in Minnesota, and I think it was August 20th. Wow, that's very spaced out with Yankee Twin series. But anyway, the third departure that we're going to leave the show with this week, Masahiro Tanaka. Not playing in the major leagues this year. He's going back to Japan. Signs a 2-year deal with his former club, the Rakuten Golden Eagles. And Alexis, I'll start with you because we kind of went over this a little bit last week, but you surprised that he ultimately decided to go back to Japan, that he couldn't get anybody to give him a contract here? And do you think that he eventually comes back to the Yankees to finish his career here?
I'm not surprised that he made that decision to go back to Japan. He's got his alliance and his allegiance to there, and that's his hometown. That's where his heart is. And I don't think he was going to get anything here. I mean, ultimately it went from him having a rough season to whatever was shown on his medicals. Teams were concerned about that. And it just didn't seem like he was going to get anywhere in the major leagues here in the States. So, wish him all the best of luck. One of my favorite Yankees to kind of watch play. Just a really great guy, even walking around in Tampa when I worked for the Tarpons and running into him. He just always had a smile on his face, was always laughing. So really good guy, but yeah, wish him the best of luck in Japan, but really not surprised that that's the ultimate decision he made.
James, do you want to touch on that one? Your thoughts on because I kind of always thought it got to the end point where I thought, Tanaka is going to go to Japan, but I was just kind of surprised nobody stepped in this market where there wasn't really a lot of top pitching and just wanted to give him a 1-year deal. But I guess in Tanaka's mind, it was either come back to the Yankees, who didn't really show him a lot of love in terms of the money, I would think, or go back home.
I wasn't really all that surprised at the lack of interest, but to an extent, I really thought the Angels would have been all over him. I'm surprised they weren't. But again, you take a peek under those physicals and you see UCL kind of hanging by a thread. You're kind of going to shy away from that, especially when $11 million can get you Corey Kluber or can get you kind of someone else to fill that void. So I wasn't all that surprised, but I guess kind of sad to see Tanaka go. He was a great Yankee, obviously. And I don't think he'll really ever be back here. Just listening to the way Brian Cashman was talking about him in the press conference, how like all his career kind of in the United States was kind of robbed by the Astros in a sense. Like he won a championship and he might have been robbed by him, this and that. So it kind of just sounded like Brian Cashman was putting a conclusion on his career in New York and in the major leagues. But I don't doubt that we'll see Tanaka again in the MLB, but I don't know if that's going to be for the Yankees.
Yeah, Cashman mentioned in his meeting with the media over the past week, Brendan Cuddy from NJ.com had it, that Cashman didn't shoot down the idea of bringing Tanaka back, but added he'll be hard to replace. And I thought what stood out is a lot of Yankees took to social media to thank Tanaka for what he did in New York, and I think being very consistent here. And what stood out, Brian Hoke tweeted it at MLB.com. DJ LeMahieu's Zoom conference when he resigned started off by talking about Tanaka. And I think, James, for the money that he got, he lived up to every penny. Yes, he didn't win a World Series. Yes, he never got to pitch in a World Series. And I think Cashman kind of mentioned that, or Boone mentioned, one of them mentioned that this week about kind of like wishing he could have got a chance to pitch in one. But this is a guy that took the ball, and even though he maybe at times didn't dominate like you wanted him to for that money, you always kind of knew what you were getting. And it was like a good, consistent feeling that you always knew most nights Tanaka was going to keep you in every game. So to me, he lived up to every bit of that big contract they gave him.
The Yankees signed people to have success in October, and Masahiro Tanaka did that. He will forever be remembered for being nails in the postseason, despite kind of not really being so great last postseason. But again, that kind of plays into the fact with no fans, the environment. Like you could tell, he steps up when the moment calls for it, and when the environment kind of calls for it. If it was a Sunday day game in Baltimore, you were worried about Tanaka, but it was a Sunday night game in Fenway Park. You knew you had the ball in the right hands. It was hilarious how that kind of worked with him. But by every means, he was a great Yankee, and he did everything you wanted out of him.
We're going to have a fun trivia question toward the end of the show. We heard how much you all liked the trivia last week, so we brought it back with a Tanaka question this week. That'll be toward the end. But Alexis, what do you think of Tanaka's tenure in New York? Positive, or what do you make of it?
Yeah, I definitely think he had a positive tenure during his time in Pinstripes. I think it says something with all the players really showing their thanks to Tanaka and expressing their gratitude for him and how much they really enjoyed being around him. First when the Yankees signed him, he's had a great career. I think this last year was really the year where he kind of started slipping a little bit. But overall, yeah, I think just a guy that definitely had a tremendous career with the Yankees.
Two-time All-Star, and one of the things you kind of wished for Tanaka, I'm looking at the numbers now, and very consistent, 3.74 ERA, over 1,000 innings in his career. He finished 9 strikeouts shy of 1,000. Can you come back and pitch one more regular season game to get that 1,000? But besides that, I think a strong career, pitched over 150 innings 4 times. And I think 2020 kind of was a lost year for him because of what happened in summer camp when he took that line drive off Giancarlo Stanton, just never really recovered. But still, despite the postseason inconsistency, he had an ERA of about 3.5 in 10 starts. And that's kind of what you wanted from Tanaka, a guy in about the mid to low threes that did just enough. And I think he did that here. Now, looking at the rotation going forward, and I thought what kind of sent out a red flag, Alexis, was when Cashman talked about, he did say they're ready to go at what they have, but the Yankees still have to make a move for Darren O'Day, which is kind of weird because we just talked about Darren O'Day last week to get him on the roster. But he also said that Severino's target date to return from Tommy John surgery is late summer. We all kind of thought June. If this is July, August, I mean, how much can the Yankees really depend on Severino? Or is it just simply come back and we'll see if you're a postseason starter or you're pitching out of the bullpen in October?
Yeah, I don't if it's June and now we're maybe pushing July, August, I don't think we see him as a starter. I mean, that's June, July to be back, but he's still going to have a rehab to do. He's still going to have a lower pitch count. He's going to have an innings limit. I don't think you can expect that much of him. I think it's going to be a bullpen role, maybe long relief or minimal relief, something like that. But I don't think he comes back as a starter.
Now, to be fair, James, you could see Severino maybe get a couple minor league rehab starts, hopefully when the minor league season, if and when it's back in June and July. So it's not like he won't go without pitching and he'll get in some games. But just the fact that when you hear late summer, that's a red flag for this rotation because you're depending on him to come back. And now when we get into later at the news, there's probably not going to be expanded playoffs. You don't exactly have time to kind of maneuver Severino in with extra playoff spots if the Yankees do happen to be in a race with Toronto or Tampa or something like that for the division.
If he is back at the end of July, I don't love that because I don't know if that's really enough time to get ramped up to get into the rotation. So and Severino is really a huge key of the way you talk about this kind of upcoming Yankees team. You see a rotation, you see Cole, Kluber, Taillon, and then with an asterisk, Luis Severino anticipates to return. But if he doesn't return, what do you have? They're going to be searching at the deadline for another arm. And that's maybe more than another arm. Of course, if Taillon and Kluber don't work out, or don't pan out, you might be looking for two arms at the deadline, maybe more. You don't know. This team needs Luis Severino back sooner rather than later. I'm kind of hoping Cashman put the July, August timeline there to just, I guess, calm down, feel like there's no rush here. So that's kind of what I'm hoping, but I don't know. If he comes back in August, late July, that's trouble.
Turning now to the other former Yankee veteran who's not on the team yet, but like James alluded to with the Ottavino trade, it kind of brought a sign that Brett Gardner would come back. Now, he's still a free agent with 2 weeks left till spring training. Now, you could obviously bring in Brett Gardner at any time. It doesn't really change anything. My question here, James, to start off with is I feel Yankee Twitter is kind of split on Gardner. I think they like Gardner, but there seems to be that fear that he'll come back and take at-bats away from Frazier. And this is already a very crowded Yankees outfield. Should the Yankees bring him back?
No, there's no spot for him. I would love to bring him back as like a coach, like a type of coach. I swear, there's no spot for Brett Gardner. I guess, I don't know. I guess the Yankees kind of make spots for Brett Gardner because everyone gets hurt every game. So maybe there always is a spot for Brett Gardner if you think about it. But my God, I'm really tired of seeing him get meaningful at bats. Like he was batting sixth in playoff games last year. That's not supposed to happen. If they could bring him back in a limited role where he would literally be a fourth outfielder, then sure. But do not give him the bat in the sixth hole in the ALDS. Just don't. Yeah. And then bringing him back gives him that ability to do that, which makes you think they will do that. So I don't want him back. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, I think having him back on limited money as a fourth or fifth outfielder is important, but I think when you look at this, Alexis, you've got Frazier, Hicks, Judge, Stanton could play in the outfield a little bit. We'll see if they actually do that, but that is a possibility. You have Tauchman. You have Greg Allen, who's still on the roster right now in the 40-man that can play the outfield. I don't really know if the Yankees, and I would like Gardner to come back, if you're going to give him like $3-4 million. First off, let's see if another team even wants to give Brett Gardner a contract. I think that's something to monitor as well. But I feel like they could use the money for an infielder because the Yankees really going to go into this year relying on Tyler Wade and Tyler Estrada, who really, as good as their defense can be, don't really have much success at the plate in their careers so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're the Yankees, I want to see Clint Frazier get his shot. I love Brett Gardner. He's a veteran of the Yankees, one of the original guys, but I think his time's over. I mean, he had a horrible season. Let's just put that out there. Did not have a good season at all. And then you had Clint Frazier, who just came up clutch, majority of his at-bats, and just had what I would say was a peak performance, and I think a performance that he can build off of in 2021. I'd like to see him get his shot. Brett Gardner, maybe it's time to shift into a front office role there, bud.
And you also have Miguel Andujar on the roster who might need reps in the outfield too. So they have so many outfielders. Like, James, I think at some point, I know that Didi just signed, but I wouldn't have given Didi $28 million, which I think he got. The Phillies gave him a nice amount of change there. Isn't there some? Couldn't the Yankees use that? I don't mind if they bring Gardner back, but couldn't the Yankees use that amount of money to bring in a veteran infielder that can play around the diamond, that if Torres needs a day or LeMahieu needs a day or somebody with a little bit more consistency in the middle infield positions? Because I feel like their depth over there is a kind of a question mark still.
Oh, easily. But I'm really stunned. I'm sorry to kind of change the subject in the sense. I'm stunned they're walking into the season with Gleyber Torres as their shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that's the route they went. Everything we talked about in the postseason show, kind of with a conclusion, they addressed none of it. Like the bullpen, in my opinion, is still weak. You're still too right-handed heavy, and Gleyber Torres is still your shortstop, and your rotation's questionable. They didn't do really anything to address anything that we were concerned about. So you're essentially walking out there with the same exact team with all the same concerns. That's why this offseason to me, and I know I'm really going way off topic, but was really not much of anything. You replaced 2 question marks in the rotation with 2 more question marks. You replaced the question mark in the bullpen with Darren O'Day, which I don't even know if he classifies or could qualify as a question mark. He brought back LeMahieu. That was of course, but Gleyber Torres is still your shortstop too. There's so many problems here that just weren't addressed. They were ignored. So that's my piece about the whole Brett Gardner and bringing in a middle infielder. Yeah, you need a middle infielder, but you need a starting shortstop. You don't right now. You have a filler at shortstop. You're walking to a 162-game season with Gleyber Torres as your shortstop, and he, by no stretch of the imagination, is a shortstop.
Now, I will say this for Gleyber Torres. I don't mind that the Yankees are giving him another shot at playing short. We know Cashman's talked about how Torres kind of struggled with the whole staying in shape thing for the restart, but he was in perfect shape when the season was going to start in the spring. I think you look at this season for him, I'm not going to trade the prospects for 1 year at Trevor Story. Even though the Rockies got really nothing back for Nolan Arenado, I think they'd have to get double that to trade Story. And I think you have all these free agents next year with Baez and Seager and Correa. Probably not Lindor, but you have to throw him in there for now because he's right now under contract for 1 more year. That the Yankees could maybe like audition Torres this year, and if he struggles again, then you can maybe spend on this heavy shortstop class if you need to. I don't mind. I know the Yankees feel that they want to see if those questions are answered over 162 and not 60. I don't feel there's a lot of worry for me on Torres as compared to the Gary Sanchez questions, the rotation questions. I think Torres is like a distant 4th or 5th for me because I kind of just expect him to kind of get back to where he was.
Okay, I don't hate that, but I'm just thinking kind of overall as a whole where this all season has went. They didn't address any of their issues. They're still the same team. Postseason comes and you're facing a power right-handed pitcher on the mound. Yeah, I mean, expect the same results. You have 6 guys do the same exact thing. You hit a long ball, they strike out. And the fact that they didn't address that versatility, Luke Voigt's still your first baseman. You have 9 or 8 righties in the lineup with the exception of Aaron Hicks. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know what they were looking at this offseason.
Now, the Yankees did make a semi-addition to their bullpen this week. It's not an official Major League addition, but they did get some depth for the bullpen. John Paul Morosi from MLB.com and Fox Sports reported on Tuesday that the Yankees signed Kyle Barraclough to a minor league deal with an invite to spring training. Going to be 31 years old in May. He's pitched mainly with the Marlins. 2019, he was with the Nationals, and the Giants struggled with Washington. 2019 was not great for him, but he's a guy in the past that's made 60, 70 appearances out of the bullpen for Miami, more consistent relievers. Alexis, I'll go with you to start this one. What'd you make of the signing? I don't think any minor league signing is bad. Actually, if he can find a way to pitch again, he didn't pitch at all last year. But I like the Yankees taking advantage of a guy with a good amount of upside who's been dependable at the major league level, and we'll see if it pans out.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was an interesting signing and someone who I think at the major league level, like you said, has had some success. He's a veteran. He knows pressure situations. And per, Morosi and a couple others, I think he could be a potential closer for the Yankees. Granted, you got Chapman and a couple other guys back there, but Britton and Green. But I think you look at Barraclough, and I think he's going to be a great addition to a bullpen that I think was hurting coming into the season, and now you add in Barraclough to be a little cushion in there.
Now, James, I'll get your thoughts on that too, but also when you look at the Yankees middle relief, we all know about Chapman and Britton and Green and O'Day now. What are you looking for from the middle relief of this bullpen? Guys like Krisky, Nelson, especially with Yahurey now gone and with the Pirates, well, why is it going to be another one? Who are you looking forward to watching this spring to see them establish themselves more in that middle relief role in the pen? Or it could be starters that lose out on starting jobs in spring training that help this bullpen at some point.
I mean, I guess Loizaga, right? I guess he would be established as a guy in the middle. I gave up kind of on my quest for Jonathan Loizaga to be effective as a key member of the Yankees. But I guess he could slide in nicely as that middle relief guy. He's got good stuff. So I guess he's kind of the guy I'm looking for there.
And we know how much Aaron Boone and the Yankees believe in him as a reliever. They were throwing him in big situations. They threw him in that big game 2 against Cleveland where that almost backfired. But they're giving him every chance to earn this spot. He's obviously showing them something. But now I think as you get into 2021, the Yankees need results out of him now to keep him in that role and to earn that trust that he's obviously gained because the trust in him has led Adam Ottavino to Boston.
Right. Which is, I still can't believe they did that trade, but Loiza's really got to step up. He does. He has the stuff. The command is really not there, but Matt Blake, this is what you got Matt Blake for in a sense, for a project like this. So it's time for that to come to fruition.
So I want to remind everybody it's a new era here at Pinstriped Prospects as we provide exclusive minor league content to paid subscribers with our Dugout membership program. You get scouting reports, player interviews, features, and much more in addition to our free Major League coverage. Remember, the minor league season is right around the corner. We're about a couple months away. We're going to start to get more player interviews out there for all of you, and eventually we're going to get coaching staff assignments. A lot of teams are starting to do that, so minor league news will only heat up as the weeks come in. Sign up for our Dugout membership program for either $5.50 a month or $40 a year. And remember, if you want to get your first 7 days free, you want to try us out, see what you like, you use the promo code Chasin28pod. That is CHASIN 28pod. You get to try us out for a week. So be sure to check that out. We definitely appreciate all the support all of you have given us by signing up for that Dugout membership program. So let's get into our minor league position overview for the week. Last week we looked at upper-level outfielders. We're going to hold off on lower-level outfielders for another week or so. We're going to look at second base. We already talked about the Yankees' middle infield being not exactly a position of strength in terms of depth in the organization. They do, and a lot of that depth at the lower levels, and a lot of that depth plays shortstop, as we've mentioned on past shows. But second base, I think, is also interesting. And Alexis, I'll start with you with Oswaldo Cabrera, a guy that is in the upper tier of this organization. Kyle Holder is now gone. And I think Cabrera kind of steps into that limelight here, and a guy that can play all around the diamond in the infield. Why don't you tell us about him? Did we lose Alexis? All right, so I'll hold off on that one.
Sorry, we're good.
No, go ahead.
I accidentally muted myself there. No, Oswaldo Cabrera, definitely a guy that interests me, a guy that I've had the opportunity to see a little bit of in Tampa when I worked there, and then when I was with the Miracle, got to see him play with the Tarpons as well. But just a guy who can put the ball in play and get on base as well. Had a 260 average in 2019 with the Florida State League Tampa Tarpons, 310 on base percentage, 378 slugging, and a 687 OPS. Had about 29 doubles, 8 home runs, 56 RBIs, 33 walks. So again, you talk about a guy who not only can he play all around the diamond, but he can get on base and produce some runs and drive-in runs as well.
Definitely a name to watch there. I think the other three players you want to mention, one would be a guy, Roberto Chirinos. This is a player. A lot of the guys are going to mention either at the lower levels or haven't even started their professional careers yet. So the Yankees obviously will have a lot of competition. Chirinos, the guy, could play some shorts, also could play some second. In 2019 with rookie level Pulaski in 50 games, hit 256. He had 6 home runs, 27 RBI. He hit 2 home runs the year before, so the home run numbers went up. On base went up about 30 points. Slugging went from under 300 to 400. So the numbers at least were getting a little bit better. He's going into his age 20 season. So this is a player I think you might want to keep an eye on where the Yankees could place him. Another guy would be Ezekiel Duran. This is a guy I got to see up close in Staten Island. And one of the things you'll like about him, the power stood out. I thought that was a huge key to his 2019 season. And I thought he showed much better approach at the plate. A lot of the talk around Duran was the high strikeout rate and that he wasn't seeing a lot of pitches. He got a lot better with that as the year went on. He hit 256, 13 home runs, 37 RBI. He did strike out 77 times, but the walks are a big improvement. He went from having 9 walks in Pulaski in 2018 to 25 in 2019, 66 games. It's a big improvement, and they were putting him in the leadoff spot a lot of the time, too, when you had that infield combination of Duran and Josh Smith. So I would keep an eye and see if that plate discipline continues to improve with Duran. We talked a lot with hitting coach Ken Joyce during the season about those improvements he was making. And you can find that more at pinstripeprospects.com. But this is a guy that I'm really high on from watching him play, and when he gets bat on the ball, it can go a long way. The other guy I'm intrigued by going into next year, and we talk a lot about Austin Wells from the 2020 draft. Trevor Hauver is going to be really interesting. He got picked with the 99th selection of Arizona State, had a really good year. A lot of people talked about, and we mentioned it when we did the draft show, that a lot of people talked about Spencer Torkelson at Arizona State. Hauver was really one of their better hitters at the plate. And we did a coach's insight series during the summer. We had a chance actually to talk with his hitting coach, Michael Early. And Coach Early was telling us how he feels Hauver is the most underappreciated player in the country. And to have that kind of impact, he's got good power. He had a 14-game hitting streak before the 2020 season got shortened because of the pandemic. So he's a guy that coming in with good power, good contact ability. So a lot of people mention Wells. I'm kind of interested to see what Hauver can do and how aggressive the Yankees are with him, because this is a player I think with good contact skills and power skills and can move around the infield as well. So I think that might be the guy you watch from this class in 2021, because I don't know really what they're going to do with Wells. Will he be a catcher? Will he be a first baseman? Down the road, we'll find out. But I like Hauver in this class. I think he's going to be really intriguing going into next year. So that's our look at second base for this week. We're not sure what we're going to do next week. We'll see if we do outfielders. Maybe we'll do some pitchers, but we're going to be trying to do this series for you every week, spotlighting some players in the organization at each position to get you ready for the minor league season. When we have a lot more coverage during the year, we'll have beat writers from all the teams in the system on the show at some point and get you weekly updates as it goes on. I hope that, because that was the plan for the show last year until the minor league season got shut down. So we're looking forward to bringing that to you this year. Now let's get to the big MLB versus MLB PA debate. Like I said earlier, I don't think the two sides can agree if grass is green. I'm trying to figure that out. I think they would have a debate like, no, it wasn't green yesterday. So basically, here's what happened. Baseball wanted to delay the season till late April. And now the MLBPA is saying, no, we're concerned by the injuries. We want to start now. No DH, no expanded playoffs. Everything's going to stay the same. So I'll ask James and Alexis, you could follow. Which side are you on in this, MLB or the MLBPA?
I'm kind of on the side of the MLBPA, only because I want the season to start on time. And that's really my only motivation behind it. So I don't really care all too much as long as I get 162 games of baseball and an on-time season like I was told, like Rob Manfred told me to prepare for, then I'm good. So I guess in this sense I'm on the side of the MLBPA because that means we get an on-time season.
Now, Alexis, I think Here's the problem with this. I get where the PA is coming from, where they've been already getting ready for the season to start on time, and now they brought this proposal up in late January, early February. It's not really time to change anything because you've got the risk of injury. But I kind of don't like the optic where I know John Heyman had a tweet like this where they were more worried about injuries than the virus. In a time that, yes, we're getting the vaccine and things like that, that's not exactly something I want to hear if I want to side with the players, that you're more worried about injuries than the virus. Yes, you finished a year through the pandemic last year. But I feel like this is one where I could see where the owners, I get it, they want to get the season to start later so maybe fans get in the stadium. But I'm a little confused at where the PA is on this. And why did it take till this long for them to get a proposal on the table?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm me, like right now, I'm siding with the players. I'd like to see the season get started. I can see where MLB, again, like you said, they're wanting to press pause to get more fans in the stadium. And I think right now, it's up to the teams, but it's a state-by-state basis too, whereas here in the state of Florida, our governor's all for professional sports. He's all for opening up. And I think we'll have fans at Marlins Park in Port St. Lucie for spring training and over in Fort Myers and our different cities here. I think that's what our government will do. I think we're going to see baseball here in Florida with fans, but yeah, I'm excited to get the season going. Traffic in Port St. Lucie is going to suck, but it's all right because we have baseball. But I think too, if you're the minor leaguers, like you haven't played in almost 2 years now, they're ready to get back on a field and have a normal season. And I think there's a way you can do it and do it safely. The NFL succeeded, NBA is succeeding. I think MLB can do it too.
Oh, I have no doubt baseball can succeed through a pandemic. I mean, they did it, albeit with complications. They did pull it off last year. They were luckily finishing a game earlier with the whole Justin Turner thing, but they pulled it off. The question I would have, and why I'm not on either side, is why can't these two sides come to the table in good faith? And that's what I'm really concerned about. Like, they don't want to do DH because they don't want to do, then there's expanded playoffs. And now they feel the expanded playoffs gives the owners more money. And now they don't want to do this. And they can't agree on anything. And I get it where people will side with the players, and I'm usually one that does. Last year I did a lot. At some point, if you actually want to have a season in 2022, you eventually, I get the owners robbed the players in the last negotiation. But at some point, you've got to be able to get to the table instead of just saying, well, Commissioner Manfred, you have all the power anyway, so why are we negotiating? No, you have to try to negotiate. You have to try to do what's best for the sport. I mean, I guess they're just content with being the third most popular sport in America. But it's really confusing why these two sides couldn't figure this out. I don't know, late December?
Months ago.
Nothing's really changed from December to now, where they couldn't have figured out the DH and basically wrecked Nelson Cruz's market, basically are currently wrecking Marcell Ozuna's market. They've really messed with the players. The players honestly haven't helped themselves either. They could have come with at least a good approach, but I guess they've just accepted that they're not going to get what they want and say, all right, Rob, give us a season. We'll figure it out in the winter. But I'm really disappointed by it. I like that we're on time, but I feel this could have been a thing like 2-3 months ago. Which leads me to this. I think we'll throw this out there. Are both of you confident or not confident that we'll actually have baseball to start on time in 22? Because honestly, I have a hard time believing there won't be a work stoppage.
See, that's a different conversation. Is the CBA up in 22?
It's up December 1st of 21.
Yikes. I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with no. We will not start on time. Not anything due to a pandemic, hopefully, fingers crossed, but I don't think we're going to start on time. I don't think these sides really can get anything done. I don't really think anyone likes Rob Manfred at all, and anything to make him look bad. So I don't think they're going to start on time in 22.
Alexis?
I think it's going to kind of depend on 21 and how 21 goes. I could see it going either way in 2022, whether it's on time or not. I kind of lean toward not. But we're starting on time in 21, so we'll see.
True, I guess it's more of the we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but it's not looking optimistic by any means. And I think if you're a fan of the Colorado Rockies, you're not feeling optimistic about it either, because you just saw your star player get shipped away for 5 prospects, albeit players the Rockies I'm sure feel have a high upside. But you basically gave away Arenado and are giving money to the Cardinals to take your best player. If you are a team like the Rockies, or we've talked about the Indians and the Pirates on past shows, and eventually you're going to want fans to come back into your ballpark, you have to give them a reason to take the risk to go to the ballpark. There is nothing on the Rockies right now except maybe German Marquez, Trevor Story, the local pitcher Kyle Freeland. There's nothing that makes me go, I need to go to Coors Field to watch a Rockies game. Nothing. You essentially gave away your superstar, and now you got Arenado and Goldschmidt in St. Louis, and I get it, Arenado signed the contract. That's a whole different story, but Alexis, this is very concerning if you're a Rockies fan. You just watch your star go out the door.
Yeah, definitely. I think anytime you watch your star go out the door, you're definitely concerned and kind of anxious to see what happens in that next season for sure.
Now, see, James, last week I said on the show, and I said to Jason Mackey from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, which, by the way, if you didn't check out the interview about Jansen Tyone, really good interview, I joked that the NL Central didn't realize the season was about to start. I guess they listened to that, and the Cardinals now said, hey, I'll show you one up. I'm going to put Arenado with Goldschmidt. I mean, that's a superstar infield.
Yeah, that's tough. But the whole Arenado trade, it's funny because it seems like St. Louis always gets these type of guys. I don't like Goldschmidt was beloved in Arizona before he got there, right? And Arenado's beloved in Colorado before he gets there. I don't know why it's so easy to trade your star player to the Cardinals. I feel like it's just like a common thing. Like Giancarlo Stanton was supposed to get traded to the Cardinals, but he denied that, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. I don't know why it's so easy for everyone to trade the star player to St. Louis. Because no one cares about St. Louis. Like, why is that the easiest thing in the world? But I don't know. Poor Rockies fans losing that guy. That's got to hurt. I know it hurts. I remember when it's really not even close to being comparable. When the Knicks lost Porzingis, I was devastated, and I'd imagine Rocky fans are feeling that on a scale times 30.
And think about it, you have that for the Rockies on top of their front office and their ownership watching DJ LeMahieu do at Yankee Stadium what he should have been doing at Coors Field. Where it's
so funny at Rockies ownership. It's like, we suck. Like you could blame us. Like full responsibility. This one's on us. We'll take all the heat for it. Like that's like crazy. It's like I don't think I heard them say once like this is the best direction for our franchise. This and that, trying to sell everything. Instead of like, no, like, blame this one on us. Like, this one's on us. Like, we're sorry. And they almost, like, apologize. It was crazy.
Now, I will say this about St. Louis. I know baseball players love playing in St. Louis because they're so passionate about baseball, but they don't really boo you. Like, think about why Albert Pujols loved playing in St. Louis so much. There's the pressure of playing in a big market, but you don't really get the fan pressure that you do in New York.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really think you get that anywhere else, but I guess Boston.
And LA.
Boston, yeah, definitely Boston. They love booing people. Yeah, no, it's funny. It just seems like every time a star player is available, the freaking St. Louis Cardinals are in on it, and everyone's just totally okay with doing it. It's crazy.
And what it also tells you of a good sign for the Yankees, another great player still in the National League.
Right.
If Trevor Bauer goes to the National League and Real Muto re-signed this past week, he stayed in the National League and went to Philadelphia. If Bauer goes to the Mets or the Dodgers, outside of LeMahieu and Springer, and Brantley going back to Houston and Cruz going back to Minnesota, and maybe I guess the White Sox with Hendricks, there hasn't really been any other big elite player movement in the American League. It's been all in the National League.
The American League's bad. It's bad. By default, the Yankees might be the best. You could debate Yankees or White Sox for the best team in the American League. This is a bad league.
Meanwhile, Toronto's upgrading their rotation with Steven Matz and giving Francisco Liriano a minor league deal.
Yeah, I think the Blue Jays are the only team that's kind of done anything this offseason and made moves.
Tampa did bring back Chris Archer. That I'm really interested by. You wonder if they're going to find something with him, and he's going to turn back into what he used to be.
And I definitely think if we have an AL/NL All-Star game this year, it could be an NL beatdown. Fortunately.
That'll be another debate at time if we get an All-Star game. You know, the NBA is dealing with finalizing some kind of All-Star game, but we'll see what happens in due time. But it's time for Yankee trivia. There's no music for this, but it's Yankee trivia. All right. So here's the question for this week. It's about Masahiro Tanaka. Now, this is according to the Yankees top 50 page on Baseball Reference. So this is where I'm getting this number from. Masahiro Tanaka right now is 5th all-time for the Yankees in strikeouts per 9 innings. So James and Alexis, can you name the 4 pitchers ahead of Tanaka on this list?
Gosh.
What was that? On all-time strikeouts?
All-time strikeouts per 9 innings.
Per 9.
Strikeouts, he was like not high enough to do a question for.
Roger Clemens?
Roger Clemens is 6th.
Oh, you
at 8 about 8.3. Tanaka is at about 8.46.
Okay,
a little off.
Pettit?
No, I don't think
Andy Pettit is 19th.
Yeah, Gossage.
Bruce Gossage is 1. He is number 4.
CC Sabathia? No, forget I said that.
All right,
David Cone?
But you said it. CC is 8th. David Cone is number 3. Very good, Alexis.
Hey!
You both got 1.
Yeah.
Now time for the top 2.
2 and 3.
1 and 2 you're looking for. They're very recent. So you don't have to really think that
very recent.
Oh, recent.
They're from the last decade.
Like Garrett Cole doesn't count, obviously, right?
No, Garrett Cole not on the list.
Obviously. The last decade.
Last decade.
You said Sabathia already, right there?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Decade. Hiroki Kuroda?
Hiroki Kuroda is actually 16th.
Interesting.
I feel like when the pressure's on, I can't.
Right down guy. Luis Severino.
Luis Severino is number 1.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
10, a career strikeout per 9 of 10. Now number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say he was not looked at very kindly for his tenure in New York. Very disappointing.
Very disappointing. I wish you didn't say that, because now I don't even know what to think.
I try to give hints, and the hints now are just making you think more?
Yeah.
Okay, this is not a good hint then.
I'm trying to think of names. I don't know if I have anything here. Let's see. CC, the last decade. Wait, relievers can't count. Obviously, this is starting pitchers.
Well, Gossage was on the list, so reliever.
Right.
It's not a reliever. It's not a reliever.
Not a reliever.
It's not Rivera either. Rivera was 7th.
I don't know. I'm
I'll give you the Yankee years.
Oh yeah, that might be better. Okay.
2014 to 2017.
Sonny Gray. No, Sonny Gray. He was on the team for 1 year. Not 2014 to 2017. Because you said disappointing. Who was on the 2017 rotation?
Never lived up to potential. How about that one? Is that a better one?
Never lived up to potential.
CC. I'm trying to think who was in this freaking rotation 2017. I got nothing.
All right, so James is out. Alexis, are you out?
Oh, gosh, maybe.
All right. So
where's that pitcher now? Where is he now? Let's go there.
He last pitched in the American League in 2020 in the AL Central. I'm not sure offhand where he is now.
Was he with the Twins?
Yes.
Michael Pineda?
Ding. Michael Pineda is number 2.
Wow. That's crazy.
Well, you both got 2. So it wasn't terrible. You made me look up where Michael Pineda is now, because even I'm not sure. I feel like he signed somewhere recently.
I don't know. Last I heard, he was in trouble for PEDs, and then who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry about that.
So think of all the Yankee pitchers.
I was like, I automatically went to Twins. I was like, all right, I worked with the Twins. What Yankees have been on the Twins?
Of all the Yankee pitchers that could be number 2 on the all-time strikeouts per 9 list,
God, that's crazy.
It's Michael Pineda.
Oh,
I say that was I don't know, Alexis, was that a better round 2 than last week? I need to know for next week.
A little bit, yeah.
Last week, James, it was trying to figure out how Matt Curtis could say Wojciechowski or whatever that guy's name is. That took a long time. That one, if you guys want to figure out that at home, it was the Yankees took a pitcher in the 20. There was a pitcher taken in the 2010 draft, 41st overall. That's now with the Yankees, in tune with Jameson Taillon being number 2. That draft, it was Asher Wojciechowski, or however you say his last name. Got drafted by Toronto, most famous with Baltimore. That's where that context came from. So next week we'll have another great Yankees trivia question. It'll probably be surrounding a signing or something, so keep that in mind at home. Now, time for final thoughts. I don't know. Should we make our Super Bowl picks a different segment, or do you both have Super Bowl? I'm not sure.
Oh, we could do that as a final thought. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I had a different one, but hey, we'll do that. All right, final thoughts.
We do a segment, then we do final thoughts.
All right, so let's do this segment. Super Bowl predictions. Alexis, since you're in Florida, you get to go first.
Man, I'm in Florida here, but as much as I don't want to see the Bucs win, I kind of do. Just that homegrown team, but they got Brady. I gotta go the Bucs.
James,
go with the Chiefs.
I love breaking ties. I think you all know where. If you follow me enough on Twitter and you've listened to the show for how long, James? We've been doing this for a year already.
Yeah, this is the second season.
Yeah, I think we started last February. I think we're going to about to hit a year pretty soon. Yeah. All right, so since you've listened for the last year, you would know who I root for. Now TB12 is somewhere else. I got to go with my guy. You can't go against Tom Brady in these games. It's going to come down to the last drive, and Tom Brady is going to find a way to do it again, and you're all going to be like, why can't he stop making game-winning drives? Because he can't, because he's Tom Brady. Tampa Bay wins Super Bowl 55, and we stop this whole GOAT versus future GOAT. It drives me insane. I hate it. It's like one of GOAT versus baby GOAT. It's like the most dumbest debate. Wake me up when he gets to 10 Super Bowls, okay? Because it's not a foregone conclusion. I'll just leave it at that. That's not
I think too. There's going to be something special about a Florida team playing in their home stadium, Super Bowl. It's going to be history in Florida. It's the state's going to erupt on Sunday.
I agree with that, but I think the one thing helping the Chiefs is they don't have to travel until I think they're supposed to get there on Saturday.
Yeah, they don't get here on Saturday.
It's going to be like a virtual different week. Just it's a Super Bowl. It's like a normal work week in a way. Just you're doing more Zooms than normal.
I guess in the same token though too, it's the same normal week for the Bucs, except for they've got the hubbubaloo of being in Tampa and everybody's going nuts, and the Super Bowl experience has been happening all week, and everybody's at the stadium constantly right about now.
And everybody in Tampa Bay's got a TB12 shirt somewhere. I've heard that there's a lot of TB12 shirts flying around.
There are. I've seen a lot of those.
All right, so final thoughts for this week. Could be about anything you want. James, since I let Alexa start off with the Super Bowl prediction, you could go first with final thoughts.
Final thought. I guess I'll go some Knick-related stuff. Emmanuel quickly. I don't know if anyone's keeping up with the Knicks here. My God. It looks like the Knicks have – I'm a little skeptical on point guard of the future or where he'll play or what type of role he'll play, but they have a legitimate piece to go along with R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle. The futures honestly never looked brighter. I've never been more excited for the future as a Knicks fan at any point. So of course I was excited during the Carmelo Anthony run, but there's a clear foundation here with 2 potential lottery picks with the Dallas Mavericks being terrible. So since they own their first round pick. So it's a fun time to be a Knicks fan right now. They may blow a lead to the Chicago Bulls with 5 minutes remaining tonight, But that being said, the future is very bright for this team.
That is not where I thought you were going, but I do appreciate. I thought you were going to go with Patrick.
Reed.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go with Patrick Reed this week.
I didn't really care about that too much. With the whole, Tiger's not playing. I swear, it's like I know the guy's a cheater. Everyone knows it. We said how many times we can go over it. Like I hate Patrick Reed. He's very annoying to me, and I feel like it's just not worth discussing.
By the way, I'm going to go after the record this. Watch my alma mater up 3 at the half against number 3 Villanova. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out.
Yeah, the Knicks are actually going to lose this game, but continue.
All right, Alexis, what's your final thought for this week?
I guess I'll go along your lines. Gators basketball is heating up right about now. They're looking really good. Excited to see how they finish out this season as we approach March Madness. And also, shout out to Dunk City, Florida Gulf Coast University. They're heating up right now, right when they need to. Maybe we'll have another Cinderella story.
You think about it, next month, March Madness right around the corner in a bubble in Indianapolis. And I think the fun part about that, we can get into it at a later time. Duke's bad, Kentucky's bad, North Carolina's and Michigan State's bad, which is going to make for a really fun tournament because somebody out of nowhere is going to win. And it's not going to be one of your traditional powers. Kansas even is Like, I think that's like your top 3, like Gonzaga and Baylor. Like, when do you ever get that? Like, I think that's what really makes this fun. 2 things this week to wrap up. 1, more disturbing stuff involving baseball coaches, front office with dealing with women reporters with Mickey Callaway this week. Go check out that article in The Athletic. We talked about with Jared Porter. It's got to stop, and I guess it's not until we start exposing more people for this. And Mickey Callaway's been suspended by the Angels for text messages and things he did with the Mets and with the Indians. Hopefully there's a resolution of that soon and people stop doing stupid stuff like that. But I wanted to give some love. This is a Yankee show. I want to give some love to Dustin Pedroia. Yes, you're all going to take my Yankee card away and all that stuff, but Dustin Pedroia officially announced his retirement this week. And the way we kind of look at Jeter define the Yankees, and I'm not saying that Pedroia is Jeter, but he's kind of their version of Jeter in a way. MVP in 2008, was an all-star, one of the better defensive second basemen in the league, won a couple of Gold Gloves. And he just was like the definition of heart and grit on the Red Sox. That kind of left them for a little bit. Yes, I know they won a championship while he was battling injuries and battled a ton of them. But the guy gave like 110% almost every game. And obviously he's known more for his lack of height at 5'9", but he's actually, I think, the short second baseman that people actually like, opposed to the guy in Houston. But Pedroia is a guy that just continued to fight his entire career. Second round pick in 2004, lifetime Red Sox. He's going to make it into the Red Sox Hall of Fame. Not the Major League Hall of Fame, but hopefully the Red Sox do something from at Fenway Park. 1,500 games, career. And it's really sad for this stat. He finished with a career batting average of 299. Couldn't find that 1 point anywhere somewhere. You kind of wish he finished at 300, but even though he didn't do that, just very good career. So congratulations, Dustin Pedroia, and hope for good health, that he can get everything taken care of and live a good life post-retirement. So congrats to Pedroia.
Thank you, Ricky. One more final thought I've got. Shout out to all the women and girls in sports media today. It's National Women and Girls in Sports Day. Shout out to all the phenomenal reporters, journalists, writers, and even female professional athletes out there. It's a great time to be a female in the sport industry. I think we're breaking more and more into it. But yeah, just shout out to all of them.
Absolutely 100% echo that. Good job, Alexis, on that one. So I want to remind you can follow us on Twitter at Pinstripe Pros, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Remember, it's on Pinstripe Prospects. That's where you find the Chasin 28 podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe. Please give us a rating. We hope it's 5 stars. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us what guests you want us to have on. We'll try to do that as best we can as we get toward spring training and spring training games toward the end of the month. You can also email me, rickjkeeler@gmail.com. Remember, sign up for that Dugout membership program, $5.50 a month, $40 a year. And you can use the promo code Chasin28pod to get your first 7 days free. Alexis done a couple articles for us on the Yankee top 10 rankings with Garrett Cole and Gio Urshela. I know DJ LeMahieu was number 1 on second baseman, and they had the right field show. I think Judge was top 5. you would think. But with Soto, Betts, Acuna, right field, and Bellinger's not right. But either way, Betts is right. It's insane how great right field is. So be sure to check out those articles. Judge was fourth.
We'll have an article on that out tonight.
So be sure to check that out. So Alexis, how can they follow you on Twitter?
Follow me at Alexis Farinacci.
And James, how can they follow you on Twitter?
Follow me at O'Connell NY.
You can follow me on Twitter at Rickinator555 and catch my show, Kicking with Keeler, on Full Press Radio. I talked with Braden Holacek, the editor of Full Press Chiefs, to look at the Super Bowl 55 this week. That'll come out on Saturday. I'm still trying to do a student perspective on Carolina Duke. Yes, that game is Saturday, although both teams are off. It's still a rivalry game. I kind of want to get into covering Carolina Duke amidst the pandemic. That will make that rivalry a little bit unique. You can catch my work over at Barrett Sports Media, talking about stuff people say on TV or radio. This week I wrote up a conversation that Bomani Jones had on the Inside the NFL with James Brown, Phil Simms, and Ray Lewis about what the NFL's with social justice, the Rooney Rule, and COVID-19. A very good discussion that those four were having on the show. So you want to check out that. So from all of us here at Pinstriped Prospects, first off, James, welcome back. Glad you're healthy, and glad to hear you back on the show this week. We missed you here. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. Hope you're all staying safe. Please wear a mask. Don't have a Super Bowl party. Just stay home. Hang out with people you're with. Don't go crazy. Wear a mask. Dig out of your cars. Hopefully all the snow's gone. From all of us here at Pinstripe Prospects, for James, for Alexis, I'm Ricky Keeler, saying have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Hopefully there's more Yankee news, and we'll talk more about it next week. We'll talk to you then, everybody.
Later.
Have a great night.